My name is Nana Ansakwal. And today we have a very interesting and exciting topic to talk about. It borders on everything. It borders on morality, it borders on finances, it borders on how we're talking about sex tourism, which is now booming in Ghana. Was it to be expected? If you find oil, you're going to have all these big boys with money chasing the oil. When they come, they have to satisfy their libido. How are they going to do that? And then there's the gold rush. When they come to find the gold, how else do you expect them to satisfy their libido? As a state, what do we do? Do we try and say it's an absolute no-no? Or do we try and regularize it so that we can earn some money as a state? And probably maybe the state can use that money to promote girl-child education, which in turn, if the girl child is educated, maybe it will limit, not eradicate, but limit women who will go into quote-unquote prostitution. But that's what we're here to discuss. It's going to be exciting, I know. And I'll start introducing from my immediate left. And I have on my immediate left Mr. Yao Agbeto. He's the editor of the Tourist newspaper. The Tourist newspaper. So welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And then in the middle, I have Yawa Salasi Abedbio. She's an enthusiast, tourism enthusiast. And then to our extreme left is Kwame Deborah, the publisher of Ghana Tourism Journal. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, when I heard I was going to discuss this topic, you know, you go on the internet and you try and find out, has it just happened? Is it just going to happen? And then you realize that it is, you know, nothing new. But I'll start with you, Kwame. What people normally do is that, oh no, it's immoral. And that, you know, the ladies who, or the boys who participate in this thing should stop and go home. However, we are not quick to give an alternative. Kwame, I'll start with you. Once they are big boys in there chasing money and they've come, these things will go on. We, the so-called moral ones who say, oh, no, you can't do that. It's wrong. Just go home. They are in there for the money. They are in there for survival. Yeah, there'll be one of them in there for career purposes. But generally, you find that people are hard up and it's, you know, a way of life. We haven't provided an alternative. So, you know, how do we deal with this?
Thank you very much, Nana, and good evening to your viewers. Sex tourism is as old as mankind. It's been there. For us, nobody is deliberately pushed into it. But I want to state here that the basic reason why anybody will go into providing sexual services is poverty.
Oh, some may have a high sex drive.
Yes, but for the majority of them,
okay,
it is poverty. And if we make attempts to reduce poverty to some level for these people, I tell you, they may leave that profession.
Yeah, I like that last question. If we make an attempt to reduce poverty, automatically you reduce the number of people who would go into this trade. So should we regularize sex tourism, tax it, use the money to promote girl-child education, which in turn reduce it?
I don't think so. I would say the other ways in which we can improve, enhance, or promote girl-child education, or give them a better life, or make their parents or guardians well able to take care of them so that they don't go into that. There are other ways that we can look at and make the girl's life better and not have to go legalizing or regularizing this, because whether we like it or not, it will continue with or without our consent. And so we don't want to add to it. We don't want to pour petrol in the fire that's already burning. So maybe have a more efficient way of collecting taxes, for example. There are other areas of the economy that can, if taxes are mobilized well, then girl child education can be promoted more and better. And if these girls or these workers have another way of life, then it would be reduced to the barest minimum, and only those who really, really, really want to do that would be in it.
In the meantime, don't we have to make money from it? Because, I mean, like, Kwame said, it's been there since generation. We haven't done anything. Hence, maybe we've gotten this boom, because we haven't done anything. If indeed there was anything for us to do, we haven't done it. So why don't we capitalize on it, since we haven't done anything? And then while we are still trying to put this implementation in place, it will just reduce itself.
Well, the economy is benefiting in a way from this, because whoever comes into the country as a tourist or whoever is involved in this is using either the hotels or car rentals, or is putting money into the economy one way or the other. And if we talk of domestic tourist sector, somebody moves from one place to the other and in the process has some fun, they would put money into the system one way or the other. They would buy something, they would use something. So money is being put in the system, and we don't want as yet to go and say and give them the license to kill. They're already doing it, and we don't want to encourage them beyond what is possible.
Zagata, what's your take on it?
Oh, I think the practice is there, and we all know. And the chances are that it will be there for a very long time. It's like prostitution. It's like the drug trade. But then we know it's there. We know it is harmful in many ways to our economy. It's harmful to our nation's image. It's harmful to our culture in many ways. But the fact that it has been there for ages should not disable us, from making, attempts to curb it. We have to curb it. The question is, how do we do that? That is the difficult part, because there are no easy ways of stopping sex tourism. But then we must make conscious effort to reduce it, if not completely eliminate it. But how do we do that? That's the question. One, education. Education for those who, get into it, maybe by default. It's not a deliberate attempt to get into prostitution, but then circumstances of this life, pull them into it. If you're talking about a child prostitution, one way or another, somebody gets into it through poverty. The other person or the other girl or the other boy sees it, suddenly somebody they have known for a number of years who, around the same level of standing with them. Suddenly the person becomes the life changes completely. Then there is the motive for them also to find out, how did it happen? Where from that transformation, drastic transformation? Then others, are encouraged to go into. We mustn't remember that for the child, the ability to think out clearly and know the consequences, they don't have it. A child of about 12 years, 13, 14, 10, because those are the ranges within which we are having, child sex tourism. So they require education. If you can keep our children in school for a long period, at least up to, senior high school level, before they drop out of school, fine. But even where they drop out of
let
school.
me come in here. When,
Yes.
when you throw in that age bracket, now when I'm talking about sex tourism,
Yep.
I am talking about probably over 18 who
Yes.
is an adult
Yes.
and consents to go and sleep with another adult.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about 10, 18, then now we're talking about pedophilia and child
Yes.
abuse.
Yes.
So I want us to
Draw a line.
so
Okay.
that I know that are we talking about pedophilia or are we talking about adults who are engaging in adult sex? Now, with pedophilia,
Yep.
we don't need sex tourism to help us. We do good. We can do bad by ourselves.
Yes.
Every time you pick up a dailies, there's at least 3 stories reported about a farmer that devoured a 6-year-old and this and that and that. So as for that problem, I don't think the foreigners are going to bring us that problem. We have it already, and we have a badge on it. So I wanted us to focus on. Even though, I'm sure somewhere in the argument it will come that it promotes some of the sex stories will now target the young ones within
Because
that.
they do,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I wanted us to focus on, consenting adults who want to sleep with consenting adults.
Yes.
They will do that anyway, as Yawa said. So I'm saying that regularize it and let us take money from them.
I'll say no. We can't regularize, or we should not regularize it.
Why?
We should not.
If I went to university and there was a Swedish girl who came to the university and then we ended up dating, is that sex tourism because she came from Sweden?
No.
If I went to London and I met a Zimbabwean there and, we meet at the bar, and you decide maybe we were going to go out and you were not able to go out. So I think, aren't we being too hard?
No. Sex tourism is when you travel
Yeah.
and deliberately engage in sexual activity with a prostitute at a destination, whereas you earn money from that relationship, if I should call it a relationship. So, 2 consenting adults deliberately engaging in sexual activity for one to be paid.
That's right.
So if I go to London, and I don't say I do that, if I go to London and I go to engage in sexual activity with anybody, probably it's a relationship I want to have with a person, but I am not getting any remuneration from that.
Yeah, well, if I do it for free, then I give you a tick. But if I do it and I take money, then I give you a cross. What? Why can't she earn a bit of money? She was going to do it anyway. So why can't she earn a bit of money for her keep? Maybe she's got a little girl at home that she has to pay school fees. And either way, she's not a saint. One day or somehow, she's going to satisfy her libido.
Yes. So there are 2 sides to it. Sex relationships is there. It's a good thing. Sex is a good thing, and it was created for a purpose.
Yeah.
And so, in a relationship, in marriage, and in certain settings that are acceptable to society, then it's not frowned upon. It's not looked at it in a negative.
Being hypocrites.
Well, but when what the fuss is about here is where somebody would leave one place and go to another place solely because we want to
satisfy my sexual gratification,
have
whatever
fun
it- yeah.
sexually, and that's it. End of story. And the only way I may be able to do that is if I give somebody an incentive. I don't know the person from Adam. I may not even like them, and they may not like me, and after that may be it. I won't see them again. The sole purpose of our engagement is to have sex, and she is not giving it to me because she likes me, and so I may have to pay her because that's her profession, or that is why she's doing it. She's consenting because she knows she's going to make something out of it, and I am with her because I know that if I pay her, I can do what I like. So then that aspect, the lines are a bit gray in between, but then why we are frowning on it is because we think it's being commercialized, it is not building relationships, and it's You know, our society, sex, you don't talk about sex in the open, you don't do, sex, we all know that it happens, but most of us don't see it done.
And that's the hypocrisy I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's the hypocrisy I'm talking about.
So society has certain norms, certain expectations that we think are acceptable. And you are supposed to be with someone because you like them. So when it goes out of that range, then we are looking at it as something different and maybe something bad.
Society has certain expectations which are acceptable.
Yes.
But our society today, from television, even the normal television drama on, prime time, and some of the things you see on TV, and prime time, maybe I'm talking 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock when children have finished their homework and are sitting there. Things that we show them and some of the explicit dancing that will be going on TV, we definitely don't live by this expectation and acceptability. So why have we all gathered on one side and, pointing the finger and casting the first stone? So I think that we have to come out of the closet and say, look, we are all bad anyway. Let us regularize it. Don't stand by the side of the street. Find a house, stay in there, and the government will come and take money. The state can make money.
As a matter of fact, there are countries where prostitution is legalized. At least I can talk about the Netherlands.
The Netherlands, yeah.
See, but the point is, when you legalize it and it becomes a trade, a profession, it becomes a career, where does it take you? You see, now, so then what do we do with our value system here? Those who legalize it, maybe we should be asking them, what kind of value have they derived from it? Even if we're looking at economics, yes, but honestly, we must say that if it is legalized, then it is easier to provide certain, facilities so that we can control the effects that it could generate, health and stuff like that. But we have a country with a culture. We cannot throw those cultural norms away. If we do, then we are really doomed, as a country. In Ghana, sex is not really something people deal with openly. And you cannot, for example, go around soliciting for sex. In some communities, they do it. Okay, but you can't solicit for sex in Ghana. The society frowns on it. So you must be mindful of that. Yes, if we allow it, how is it going to affect, our, children who are growing up? What kind of attitude will they have towards certain basic things in society?
Okay, let me come to Kwame. Kwame, our value system and culture, we have fried it. Our children don't even speak Ghanaian languages. They don't dress like Ghanaian. They don't eat Ghanaian food. They don't identify with Ghana. Patriotism is out of the window. So as for value system is gone. Culture is gone. Is it time to now deal with sex in the open and let people understand that it is a part of human nature and whether we like it or not, it will happen? And look at the economy. Restaurants will boom. Taxi drivers, hotels, pharmacies will sell more condoms. Airline industry is going to boom. And the country needs money. And these things, whether we like it or not, it's prevalent. It's with us. So why not? Why are we still hiding?
Thank you, Nana. Some of us are still Ghanaians. We still have our Ghanaians with us. Yes, what you're saying is true. But people who come here as tourists, the primary reason why they come here may not be for sex. We did talk about oil, we're talking about gold and all that. Yes, prostitution is going on. It may be booming. It's difficult to do any research, quantitative research on it, to have figures to support or debunk any argument. But for me, as my friend said, we live in a country with a culture. No matter what happens, we are opening our doors for people to come in.
Let me stop you there. If it was Independence Day today,
Yeah.
The state will refuse to pour libation because, hey, this is devil. Let us pray because that's rather a suitable culture. We would blatantly, openly ignore our culture and pray because that's more acceptable to us. But pouring libation would have been our culture. So I'm saying if we are throwing all these things away, then why not?
No, that has to do with our mindset. What we've been taught to think about, what we've been taught to believe in. Because we used to have times where at national ceremonies people were pouring libation and nobody ever complained. So it was a political decision. And I promise you it can change. But when it comes to prostitution, the fact that we've opened our doors to the world to come and live with us, to come and explore our natural resources does not mean we should also open our doors for any else to come and destroy our nation.
Yeah, Kwame said we used to. So now, you know, I mean, in New York now, apparently, you know, if it's too hot and you're a woman, you can walk topless because you're hot. And I'm sure once upon a time, they didn't used to pass that law, but now they passed it. I'm not saying we should go to the extreme, but what I'm saying is that times are changing.
Yes. So
We used to be a cultured people, we used to be respected, but we are here now.
So what do we want to do as a people? We have to talk about that and see what we want to be identified with or who we want to be identified as now. If we think being Ghanaian, being cultured in that way is not modern, it's not too civilized, we would need to decide as a people, or maybe as families or people who are concerned. We're talking about it now.
Mm-hmm.
An organization or a corporate body might say that, no, we are still a Ghanaian company and these are our values and we are sticking to it. So whoever has a need or a matter of concern and thinks that something must change either from the traditional ways of doing things to a more open, acceptable way of doing things, would have to weigh certain things and decide, why would I want to go this way? Is it because maybe now I'm dealing with clients that are international and therefore I want to be seen as international, or I want to be seen as Western, or I want to be seen as modern, and therefore loosen up a bit? So we cannot get the whole country to take a decision on it at the same time, because in certain homes now still, certain parents ensure that their children do not watch certain programs. They still do try to have their children raised in a certain way.
I'll take a quick break and come back. But then, you know, there's the age of information and what our children have on their WhatsApp and their phones and laptop on Facebook. I'm telling you, parents, you do not want to know. But before, you know, when we come back, you see, as a state, as soon as we find a nugget of gold, you have all the representatives, you know, the big players running off to some Western country to tell them, come and mine it, come and dig it, come and find it. When they come, and they come in their numbers, what did we expect? We're going to come straight back. Hello and welcome back to the show. The topic is getting exciting. Behind the scenes is getting even more interesting. But Nana Enim, who is the president of Ghana Tourism Federation, wants to contribute to the show. Good evening, Nana.
Good evening.
Welcome.
And then point of correction, it's not point of correction.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, let me hear your correction.
Yes, I said point of correction is president-elect.
Oh, president-elect. Okay.
Yes.
President-elect. Okay.
Okay. Let me. I want to contribute to the program.
Of course. Go ahead.
Good. The topic is sex tourism in Ghana.
Yes.
So there's a difference between prostitution and then sex tourism.
Sure.
Now, literally, if we talk about tourism, then you are talking about a situation where somebody travels from one destination to another destination for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It can be domestic tourism, so can it be international tourism? Like somebody, foreign tourism, somebody traveling from, let's say, America or Europe to Ghana, the intention, the purpose of the person coming, it could be conference, it could be sightseeing, it could be leisure. And today, as we speak in Ghana, technology has come to stay. Can you imagine you sleeping in your room with your child having a computer with him or her? Do you know what he does with the computer? Do you know who he communicates with? Probably it could even be that he's communicating with somebody outside the country or somebody within the country, but it's far from Ghana, far from where he is. Then the next moment, the person travels to where he is, pick your child, and abuse the child. These are some of the things that we need to talk about, because these are the issues that is destroying our country. Because you might not know who is sleeping with your daughter or your son. At the end of the day, the health hazard, before you realize, AIDS comes in, different kinds of diseases comes in. So this is the issue that we need to talk about and make sure that at the end of the day, there's policy governing this kind of behavior.
Nana, but how do Nana, let me come in here. Because when we talk about sex tourism, I'm thinking about this white man with a fat belly who comes to Labadi Beach and have fun. But if we were talking about your daughter on his iPad talking to somebody in Hong Kong, that's, how do you regulate that? I mean, that we can't even bring that on the table because it's almost impossible.
No, what we are saying is that communication now is at your doorstep. Mm-hmm. The person coming from America to Labadi Beach, he's coming here for a purpose. Or he's communicating with somebody. Or he gets here and probably go around looking for somebody to sleep with. Who knows whether the person is an HIV carrier? And who knows that the person that he is going to meet could even be your son or your daughter? So when it happens like this, we need to sit down and then make sure, as a nation, when it happens like that, what do we do to that person? Do we have to allow the person to come and destroy our children and go? And it is not only our children, our mothers, our sisters. And even there's a gay issue on the table. So I think that what we have to do is that collectively we need to strategize, or we need to come together and see how best we can take people like this on. Now let's see places like Holland, Germany. They have legalized prostitution. Yes. Why did they do that? They did that for a purpose because if they do that, they can easily give them the medical attention.
Are you suggesting that we do the same?
I am not suggesting that we should do the same. But what I'm saying is that we should make sure that whoever visits our country. Hello?
I'm here, Nana. And round up for me, please.
That all those coming into our country, we need to make sure that we monitor their movements.
Okay, Nana, thank you. Nana, are you there?
I am here.
I mean, I'll take you to Galamsey. I mean, we have 300 Chinese people entering the country. Do we have the resources to follow these Chinese people and find out where it is they're going? I mean, how do we do that?
The question is,
yeah.
How did they go to the country?
Well, we have embassies in wherever it is that they're coming from, I guess.
Fine. I am not talking about embassies. I am talking about their entry into the country. How did they go?
I mean, they'll come through Kotoka. They'll come through Kotoka. I mean, that's our only international airport. And he's going to give you
the case is. That is where we need to make sure.
No, okay.
Enters our country.
And he tells you, I'm coming to stay in Golden Tulip. I'm here for 1 week, to get suntan. then what do? Get one man to follow him, make sure that he gets the suntan before he goes back?
You see, my brother, let's look at it from this angle.
Okay.
When you travel to any of the countries, especially in America,
yes,
as soon as you enter, no matter the visa that you have to go through certain process.
yes,
And they make sure that your address is known,
yes,
where you live,
yes,
so that in case of emergency, it tracks you down.
yes.
So we could easily do the same thing here. Look at the Ghanaian people. When they were entering, these Chinese people were entering into Ghana, they went through the airport. Didn't they fill the form?
No, let me come here with your argument. I traveled to New Jersey and I'm staying at Little Ferry. I've given my address. I don't think the immigration guy comes there every morning to make sure that is Nana Nkwakwa asleep and what time did he come to bed. And I can go to town and, do my sex tourism and come back and sleep. How is the immigration going to police me on such a matter? And even that's an advanced country with the resources.
My brother.
Yes.
You see, when you go to New York, yes, you've given your address. You have the freedom to go anywhere you like. Okay? But won't betides you. Go and misbehave. You'll be shocked that even if you move from one destination to another destination, you'll be tracked down.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution. I'll come back to this. Okay, let me take a quick break so that we come back and then we'll do the last chat of our conversation. It's getting exciting, isn't it? Stay tuned. Well, hello and welcome back to PM Express. Today we are discussing sex tourism, which is booming now in Ghana. Has it become a problem? Is it something we should capitalize on, or no? Our culture says no, we frown upon it, so we should completely disregard it. Nana Enim, President-elect of Ghana Tourist Federation, called into the show. He thinks we should stop it, but he did not have that silver bullet as to how we should stop it. He tried. I think, good intentions, we'll give him marks for good intentions, but he couldn't give us a solution to it. Now, we're going to go to the final stretch, but listen to me. Let's say I lived in London, right? From the age of 0 to 16, the state looks after me. Regardless of how wealthy my parents are, they will look after me. Even milk, they'll provide me with milk. After 16, when I'm supposed to fend for myself, they may even provide me an apartment to stay in, paid for. And they will do that until I can find my own feet. And if I don't, they will do that to the end. If that state turned round to me and says, look, Amma or Kojo, you are not allowed to do this, I think they're morally right. I'm coming to my guests to ask them, as a state, we have denied our children education, health, protection, just normal protection. And sometimes our churches and mosques haven't even done enough. So how then do we turn around to them and say, don't do this, you go back home because our culture says no? How do they fend for themselves? How do they feed? And if they have children, how do they look after them? Kwame, how do they do that?
What you said about UK is right. In Ghana, yes, we don't have the kind of money or structures to do these things. But I tell you what, we hold citizenship of Ghana. So Ghana still has a responsibility to us. So if I try to commit suicide and I'm not successful, I'll be arrested by the nation and jailed. So the nation probably may not be able to give me what I need, but the nation has a responsibility to tell me what not to do, what is wrong, so that we can hold our integrity in one piece. We can also tell them, do this and do that. We need to just make our people live right. The fact that we don't have the money to do what we need to do is not the case. We cannot allow our people to go wayward. So that in future, if we have the money, we can do what we need to do. We don't need to allow them to go wayward.
I was going to go to Yawa, but hold on. I have Ben Ayer, who's PRO for Tourism Authority. I think he also wants to react to the show. Hello, Ben.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, my brother. Welcome to the show. And what do you have to say to this?
Yeah, well, I got you right. I think you are discussing sex tourism in Ghana.
Yes.
And I want to say that Ghana is not yet a sex tourism destination. Sex tourism is completely alien to Ghana. What you're talking of is prostitution. Prostitution, I must admit, is in Ghana. But when a country has as a policy to brand itself as a tourism destination, then it's taken as such. Ghana does not promote sex tourism. What we know is happening is that people come here unofficially and they engage in prostitution. They engage prostitutes to do their own thing. But things that are noted for sex tourism are elsewhere. Countries like Brazil, like Thailand, Indonesia, whatever. So in Ghana, even prostitution is a crime. And the law frowns on that. When people are caught indulging in it, they are punished. The law takes its course on them. But in countries which are treated as sex tourism destinations or that promote sex tourism, prostitution is not a crime. So this is where we have to draw the line. Let us not go into extremes describing Ghana as a sex tourism destination. We are not there yet.
Thank you very much.
And,
because of time, I'll end here. But thank you for your submission. He's saying that because we can't describe. Is it the same for everything? Bearing asset in the sun. Oh, it's not here yet. Let's not talk about it. Or is it here?
We don't want to wait for it to be full blown before we start taking action. Mm-hmm. If we are talking about it today, it's because we've seen some trends which we are not comfortable with. So we may not be at the point where Ghana is labeled as a sex tourism destination, but certain trends are on the increase.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. And I want you also comment on the fact that why are we so quick to say, this what you're doing is not moral, and I'm the state and I have the right to tell you what to do, not to do, even though I don't feed you or provide you. And again, I don't want to say that everybody who is destitute should be in the sex trade. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people who are destitute and choose to be in the sex trade, what moral right do we have to tell them not to do that?
Well, they are still part of us, and they can't say a bebakon or a bad nut. Bad nut spoils the whole soup.
Yeah.
And so, even though we are not responsible for them or taking care of them, does not mean they are not part of our fabric or they are not part of Ghanaians. And therefore, if we, in a way, can talk to them, sensitize them, or dissuade them from that, we should try. And at the same time, if there are support systems that can be put in place so that those who are really in it because there's no other way may find ways or support systems that will enable them get out of it.
What is our moral right to tell them, don't go on Cape Crawl, go home?
We have a moral right. See, it is true the state is not providing, us with all the good things that we hope we should have from our country. But the point is, when the consequences of the choice of prostitution or sex, tourism, come, ultimately it comes back to the society. For example, you go out there and you go to prostitute, then you pick some kind of STD, sexually transmitted disease. And then gradually your capacity to look after yourself is reducing, coming down.
But we are picking them up anyway.
Yes, we are. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, it is the society. It won't be government. It won't be the state that will have to look after you. But still, the society in its own, arrangements look after you. You become a burden. You become a burden on the society, even though you are not a burden on the state. But the larger society has a burden of looking after you. So then the society has the moral right to tell you stop it before you become a burden on us.
Mr. Kosa, do you think that there's a girl desperate out there who is saying, no, I won't go into the sex industry or engage because the law says I shouldn't do that?
No, not because the laws already, the enforcement of the law is so lax, people don't even know that prostitution is a crime in Ghana because it's being practiced. And, you know, I would say the authorities are looking the other way. But then, the mere fact that there is laxity in the enforcement of the law, that does not mean that anybody could just jump into it. Because there are consequences. There are consequences. Now, of course, it should be possible for us to do a set of things to see if we can reduce it or perhaps...
Let me just throw this in there. If you go to the Togo embassy, the roundabout, there's an array of girls.
Yes.
Fat ones, thin ones, tall ones, fair ones.
Yes.
And then 50 meters away from them, there's an array of policemen with big guns, small guns, and their barrier. And they are all working happily together.
Happily together.
Happily together. You know, nobody crosses each other's business. So I'm saying, why don't we get money from the girls to pay the policemen? Because otherwise we have to go to these foreign countries to go and ask them for money, and then they come, and then the whole thing, you know, the cycle booms.
Even if we take money from the girls, let's assuming...
regularize. I'm not saying this.
If we want to regularize it.
Like Netherlands.
As a the Netherlands has the structures to be able to regularize
So let's
it.
mimic it. We tried school feeding. We didn't have it. We found the structures and it worked.
School feeding. Yes,
I mean, we started piloting. We can start piloting.
We are piloting.
Yes.
How long is it going to take to feed all the school kids?
No. What I'm saying is that let's just start piloting brothels. You know, go to Netherlands, find out how they work, and then we start piloting it. Build houses. The women who choose to go in that industry will go in there, and the inland revenue will go and take money.
My question is this.
Yes.
They have decided to choose that path. If we decide to do so, to follow them, do we have what it takes?
But we are only illegally. We are following them only illegally.
No. What I mean to say is this. Assuming Ghana suddenly decides, we'll legalize prostitution, do we have the capacity as a country to provide those sorts of medical care for the prostitutes, to be able to ensure that they do not spread the disease? Look, for a very long time now, we've been talking about condoms. Do you think it's still, what is the level of condom use in Ghana? There are people out there, even though they know they are still doing it without condoms.
Last Easter, condoms ran out in, I think, you know, they literally ran out of condoms. You know, I am sure there are equal amount of girls and equal amount of sexual activity going on in Ghana, just like it does in the Netherlands. And whether we have culture or not, it is here. So when would we stop being hypocrites and say, look, this thing is here, let us find how to regularize it? And we say, we are procrastinating. We shouldn't. We should act now and find the systems to make money out of it.
Does that mean we are throwing up our hands in the air and saying we have to deal with it?
Yeah, we have to, because it's here.
Yes.
It's already here. It's not like it's coming, it's here.
Earlier you said there may be some of these girls who don't want to do that. And they're doing it because there's no other way.
Yes. And there's still no other way.
I would say, those who would, the sex trade is as old as man.
Yeah.
So I don't have the answers to that as to whether we should legalize it or not.
And so I'm giving you all the answers.
Yes.
The moral issue doesn't work because we are not moral. The culture issue doesn't work because we've thrown our culture away. But for economic reasons, we need it.
I would say for those, let's see if we can salvage something or save some of the girls. In that, if there were other ways, if say parents were economically sound to be responsible for their children, or if young people who finish school could get work or get into starting something of their own. If there were other ways to provide an earning, a living, so that they don't have to resort to that. Let's look at it. Let's try to beef up those systems and save some that we can save. Then the others that we can't save, perhaps some NGOs are doing it, where they provide support for the sex trade workers and try and rehabilitate some of them, those who want to, so that with empowering parents or creating some kind of money earning ways for these people, and then saving those who are in the trade but who want to get out. I think between the two, we should be able to get a good number of them out or prevent them from entering there. And then as to those who would still be there no matter what you do, then perhaps we can go down your road and say, let's accept them and take something from them.
Well, we'll do 30 seconds, rounding up for me.
Thank you very much. We are not saying that Ghana is officially a sex tourist destination, because nobody ever make a formal declaration that I'm going to Ghana for sex. But when they come, we know they do it. Some of them do it, no matter how little the number is, and they go for prostitutes. That's why we are saying it occurring in Ghana. What we need to do is to educate our
But in Europe now, Ghana is recognized as a sex hotspot for tourists.
Well,
in Europe,
we have not made any declaration.
No, I don't think you do. I mean, I don't think Thailand has declared itself as a sex tourism, but it is.
Yeah, but
I don't think officially the state comes out to say.
But immediately we begin to say we are going to take tax, we are going to put in structures to do this and that. We are making that declaration in other ways. So what I'm saying is that let's begin to educate our people. Let's educate our girls. Let's educate those who work in hospitality sector that if you see this, don't do this, don't do that, so that at least we can be aware that it is happening at our blind side.
Aren't we doing that?
You understand? It's happening at our blind side.
But aren't we doing that? We are still doing that. Don't go out, don't sleep with men, don't do this. We're still doing that. We do that every day.
So let's keep on doing it. Some people are here, you may not know, so that we may have just a few of them engaging in prostitution and all that. Then we'll be fine. But for legalizing it, I tell you, it will take...
Western region now has got the highest rate of, very, juvenile pregnancy. And it's really rife.
But do you have any information attached to that the pregnancy is caused by tourists?
No. What I'm saying is that we are doing bad by ourselves. So to say that if we regularize it and tourists come in, these immoral acts are going to go up, I'm saying no, it won't. It's already here with us. So we just bring in it so we can manage it. And then 10-year-old girls cannot go into the brothels. They're only going to be 18 and above. You see, if you regularize it, if you're 10 years, you're not allowed in the brothel. You're going to be 18 and above, and when the tourists come, you freely walk in, go in there, and everybody makes happy. And at least even then, the little girl might be protected. Who knows?
Well, and I tell you, I promise you one thing, in Ghana, regularize it, nobody will listen. It won't work. It won't.
Why wouldn't they listen?
Or why would somebody listen to regularizing? In any case, I don't know how.
I mean, why are we so afraid of it?
It's not that we are afraid. It is here, yes. But then you cannot tell the whole world.
I mean, prostitutes and police are working together on the same spot. Same place.
Yes.
So is that not legal? I mean, is that not legal?
But you see, which segment of society is doing that? And then number two, when we talk about police and prostitutes,
segment
generally,
I'm sure from ministers right down to road sweepers would find their price and pick their girl from there.
Oh, no, for those who patronize, I know all sorts of people patronize, but you see, it's a very small, segment of our population that is engaging in prostitution. Very, very small. Very, very
Where are
small
the statistics? Segment. Because I thought it was very rife.
Oh, the mere that it's rife doesn't mean it's a huge population out there. No. Can we say, for example, that 50% of our population is engaging in prostitution? No.
No. No.
It's a very small segment.
No, I don't think you find that anywhere in the world either. But then when we say it's rife, it is. I mean, when they are working next door to the police.
We even have figures to show that many of them are Ghanaians.
Well, thank you very much, Kwame Deborah. I had Mr. Yaw Agbeto and Yawa Salasi. You know, next week, Thursday, I think we need to continue this conversation and go into in-depth, because it is here with us. Maybe you might disagree, maybe you agree, but which is the way forward? Which is the way forward? Do we regularize it, or do we completely say no? This is not acceptable in Ghana and should go. The other way is, should the state create more jobs, more wealth, more opportunity, more safety nets, so that when you have to make a decision, your first choice will not be to sell your body. My name is Nana Nsakwao, and tomorrow we'll be back here to do it all over again. We have personality profile tomorrow.